Hi first grade, this is Mrs. Estevez from Highland Park. It is so nice to be here reading with you guys today. We are going to be reading a new book and I'm really excited. I know it's a little bit different than what we're used to, but we're going to try to pick up right where we left off in school, learning some of the stuff we already started learning and then learning a few new things. So let's get started. First, I want us to think about our objective. So today, our job is I can hear and discuss part of a nonfiction text, including what I wonder and what I learn. So I know first graders at Highland Park, we already know a lot about this. We already know how to think about what we know, what we want to know, and what we've learned as we're reading. Before we jump into our new book and start thinking about our KWL, I want us to think about this word nonfiction and what do we already know about that? So think in your head for a moment, what do you already know about nonfiction books? What makes nonfiction different than fiction? So let's take a look. I know that fiction books, we say they're fake. They're not real. It's storytelling, it has a plot, it has characters, a setting. We read it for fun, and mostly it's made of illustrations or drawings. So some books we've read this year that are fiction include Sheep Out to Eat by Margot Apple and The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. I know the stories are made up. The Snowy Day could really happen, but it didn't. It's a made-up story. Nonfiction is real. It's full of facts, true things. We often read nonfiction to learn more, and it's about true places and true things. Most of the time, you're going to find photographs in nonfiction books, but sometimes you're also going to see illustrations, so you have to be really careful because some books, like today's book, will have a photograph taken with a picture, and I know, oh, that's a big clue, it's probably going to be nonfiction. But some other books like The Bumblebee Queen we read this year and George Washington and the General's Dog, those were fiction books, but the drawings on the front, they were illustrations. So we have to be really careful, first graders. We need to remember, hey, just because it's a drawing on the front doesn't mean that it's fake. It can still be real. It can still be telling us facts on the inside, so we have to check really carefully, okay? Today, when we are reading this nonfiction book, we have to get our brains ready. And one thing we do in order to get our brains ready to read nonfiction, we have to activate our schema. So that means thinking. What do I already know about this topic? So this book, An Ocean of Animals, what do you already know about the animals that live in the ocean? I want you to think about that. What do you already know? I'm going to take a moment. Now today we're going to be writing down a KWL chart in our own notebook. So if you do not have a pencil and a piece of paper or your notebooks to write in, please go get that now. I'll give you a moment. You can pause the video to go get that. And if you don't have this, you can always make one on a blank piece of paper too. Okay, so now you should have your KWL chart ready. You can just draw a big K, W, and L on your paper just like I did and give yourself space to be able to write down your thoughts. We are going to think using my friend, Mr. Sock Monkey. He was given to me by one of my students, Kathy. I miss her very much, but I love having this to be able to remember her and remember my class. And so when you guys were getting your stuff ready, Mr. Sock Monkey told me what he already knows about ocean animals. And he actually said that he knows that whales and sharks live in the ocean. Maybe you knew that too. He also says that he knows that some animals live in the deep part of the ocean where it is really dark. Did you know that also? I bet there's some other stuff you guys know that you're writing down in your own books. I want us to actually think, what do we want to know about the book? You've told me what you already know. You got your schema ready, but now we are setting our purpose for reading. So just think, what else do I really want to learn about this topic? What do you really want to learn about an ocean of animals? Remember, you could start your question with any of these question words. Who, what, when, where, why, how? What do you want to know? Take a moment and write it down in your journal. What would you like to know? Well, Mr. Sock Monkey is going to tell me. That's a great question. Wow. Mr. Sock Monkey just have a great question. He told me, I wonder if animals in the ocean drink water. Are you wondering that too? I know they live in water, but do they drink that water? Or maybe they don't have to drink water like we have to drink water. Great question, Mr. Sock Monkey. Okay, he's going to be listening to our story along with us. And as I read this book, I want you to know that an ocean is actually a habitat, and a habitat just means a place where animals and other living things like trees live. So habitat is one of our vocab words. Can you say habitat? Great. So habitats, there's a lot of different kinds, and the one that we're learning about is the ocean habitat today. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to open up the book, and when I do, we're going to see something really special when I first open it up. An Ocean of Animals by Janine Scott. Look at this. This is so cool. This is a text feature. Can you say text feature? Text features help readers really learn more about their books, about their topics. And this one is called a table of contents. So the table of contents is actually going to tell us all about what the book's going to teach us. So this is a special text feature you'll see in a lot of nonfiction books, and it's really helpful. So always notice it. If you find it, you should take a moment, look at it, read through it. It's going to get you really ready to read your book. Okay. This one says, Full of Life, page 4, Coastal Zone, page 6, Sunlight Zone, page 8. And those are the 3 sections we're going to read today. We'll read the other sections of the book next time. Ooh, some beautiful photographs. Full of life. That's the heading. Looking from shore, the ocean seems to hold just water, but it's bursting with animals. Bursting means it's full of animals. These animals live in different parts of the ocean or zones. I feel like I'm learning something already. Coastal zone, another heading. The coastal zone is where land meets water. Coastal animals often live in and out of water. Crabs scuttle on the beach. Seabirds fly overhead. So scuttle, what the crab's doing, that just means to run quickly. I want us to stop and think. What have you already learned about the coastal zone? If you'd like to write it down in your KWL chart, you can. You can write it down on your L, what you learned. You can pause the video and then come back when you're ready. Next section, the sunlight zone. The sunlight zone is the top layer of the ocean. Top. Most of the world's fish live in this zone. Small fish munch plants. Sharks eat the small fish. Look at that shark. Oh my gosh. All these guys are living in the sunlight zone. When it said small fish munch plants, that just means they eat them. Everybody show me munch. We've learned a lot of vocab words this year with munch and crunch. Coral reefs grow in the sunlight zone in shallow water. Millions of animals live on each reef. Sea anemones spend their lives clinging to one piece of coral. Wow. So shallow means not deep. It's the opposite of deep. It's very surface level. And clinging, the anemones, they're holding on to that piece of coral. Very neat. I think I see that Nemo fish. Mammals live in the sunlight zone too. Manatees graze on seagrass. Graze on means they eat it. Sea otters dive and play in seaweed. Giant blue whales swim in the open ocean. Wow. Do you see that grass that he's eating? Seagrass. Okay, we're going to stop again and we're going to think, what have we now learned about the sunlight zone? There were 3 pages about the sunlight zone. Will you stop and think, what did you learn? I'm going to keep going and talk to Mr. Sock Monkey because I know he was listening to the story. And he's going to tell me what he learned. So let me... Wow, you were really listening. I could tell he was really listening to the story because he has a lot to share about what he learned. Mr. Sock Monkey, maybe he learned the same thing as you. He learned that most of the world's fish actually live in the sunlight zone. Wow. I remember that from the text. He also learned that millions of animals live on each coral reef. Did you learn that too? But Mr. Sock Monkey, as all good readers have to do, we don't just ask a question at the beginning of our reading. We know that good readers, they ask questions at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end. And so since today we're kind of stopping in the middle of the story, let's ask some more questions. What else are you wondering? What else would you like to know about ocean animals that you haven't learned yet from this book? So take a moment and think. What do you want to know? You could say, I wonder, or you could start with any of these questions. Let me see. Oh, that's a great question. Mr. Sock Monkey is wondering how many animals are in the ocean. He was curious because he learned that millions of animals live on each coral reef. So if there's that many animals there, how many animals are in the whole ocean? Great question. Very big wondering. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sock Monkey. You're doing a great job. Let's see if we met our objective. It said, I can hear and discuss part of a nonfiction text, including what I wonder and what I learn. Did you do that today? I think that you did. I would love it if you can share with someone at home, a brother or sister or parents or grandparents, about what you learned about ocean animals today and what you're still wondering, and hopefully we can find some answers to next time. I also want you to remember that anytime you're reading any nonfiction book, good readers will always start by activating their schema. Start with, what do you already know? And then start by asking questions for what they'd like to find out. That sets a purpose for your reading, and it makes reading even more fun. So thanks so much for reading with me today, and I am excited to read the other half of this book with you guys next time. And until then, keep reading, keep doing a great job. Thank you so much. See you later.